Hi, John Collins here, world record holder for paper airplane distance from 2012 to 2022. Yeah, 10 years at the top, not bad. Here's that throw.
There it is. There it is. We are all over that one. That's going to do it. Get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there, get up there.
And if that looks like a long throw, that's because it is. It's 226 feet, 10 inches, which in 2012, according to Guinness World Records, was the longest throw of a paper airplane indoors in the history of paper airplanes, which made that a very happy day because it took about 3 years of trying. So we're going to fold the world record plane EZ, which looks like this. This is the guy we're going to fold today. And what you're going to do is start with this piece of paper, page 39, and we're going to get rid of all of the white edges here. I used a paper cutter to do that, but you can use scissors, whatever you like. Actually, a paper cutter makes nice, neat edges if you got a nice sharp blade here. And you always want to start so you can see the number 1 on top. This side, of course, is all the other numbers. So you want to start with the number 1 on top. And the cool thing about the folding instructions here is you're going to get a rough idea of where the crease goes on this side, and then on the opposite side there's something called a flip side guide. So what we're going to do is we're going to start moving the paper over in the direction of this crease here, and as we do that we're going to start to see this white line show up from the other side. So let's carefully get this guy positioned so we just see a little bit of that white line all the way down, and that's where our crease is going to go. That flip side guide is really helpful getting your creases right where you want them. Okay, so that's step number 1. With our flip side guide, we got just a little edge of that white showing. There's the rest of the white. So that's how you want to operate the flip side guides. Just a little piece, little sliver of that white showing is good news. Okay, fold number 2, right through here, same idea. We're going to start moving this left edge over, and we're going to see this flip side guide start to show up on this side. So that's where we want it. And you can also see crease number 3 is going to be right here. So if this line is lined up, you're going to be pretty close to correct as well. So you have a couple of different landmarks you can use to get this side going. There we go. Flip side guide looking good. Crease number 3 looking pretty straight. So obviously, step number 3 is going to be to fold this top down. So that's what we're going to do next. And you'll see the flip side guide coming through right here when we get step 3 going. And of course, you can see steps 4 and 5 are going to line up with these lines here. So you got quite a few landmarks on this particular step. And there we go. We can just see that flip side guide coming over right there, right there. And these creases come to a nice tight point there. That's good news as well. All right, so now we've got 4 and 5 to go. But I'm noticing something here. I've got a little bubbling happening on this side, and a little bubbling happening on this side. I'll give you a better look at that. It's just the layers aren't laying flat there yet. So I'm going to do what's called a sweeping move. I'm going to press down into the outside of the plane just to kind of get rid of that bubble. I'm just going to press that bubble flat by sweeping down into the outside. So that's one done. That's the right-hand side. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm a little bit off of that flip side guide now, but that's not so worrisome. I'd like those wings to be flat. So now we're ready to do steps 4 and 5. So here we go. Step 4 here. I'm going to roll that over, paying close attention to where that fold should go, and then I'm going to look at this flip side guide, and I'm also going to look at this step number 8 line. So I'm going to get that flip side guide really close, and it looks pretty good right there. And then step number 5, same idea. I'm going to get this guy going this direction, and when I see that flip side guide, that's going to tell me that I'm gone far enough. I'm in the right place. Okay, that's looking really good. You can see it's not quite a straight line here. And sometimes that's just a little bit of a printing error. You can't really control the printing that tightly on these guys. That's why the flip side guides come in so handy that sometimes the broken line is not the best indicator. So, and that's just, like I said, that's the printing press kind of a thing. All right, so fold number 6. We're just going to flip this up over those 2 corners that we just folded down. And now we get a look at our flip over symbol, and that's usually the first time you see it. Not always, but when it's all unfolded, you're seeing it. But the first time you're seeing it in the folding sequence is usually the time when you're going to flip it over. So let's flip it over. And I'm going to rotate it so that the point is just going to the left. There we go. Fold number 7 is going to be folding it just in half. And anytime you're folding a paper airplane in half, what you want to concentrate on is taking the single layer corner and putting it on top of the other single layer corner. And here's a folding trick with this plane in particular, but you'll see me do this in other planes as well. I'm going to loosen up this where all these layers meet. I'm just going to wiggle it back and forth, just create a little slack there before I try to fold this up. And sometimes this will really block you. You can see it's blocking me a little bit there. And I just, give it a little wiggle, give it a little pressure. You get it loose enough so you can manipulate it the way you want. That's a real sticking point on this plane. A lot of times people have real trouble folding it in half because these layers, there's a lot of layers right there. So if you kind of rock it back and forth, kind of create a little slack right there, it's good. And then I'm going to get those corners, one right on top of the other. Try to get this nose happening really nice and neat there. And I should be seeing my flip side guide. There it is, right down the middle. And that's looking good. Okay, so I've got 8 here, I've got 9 there. 8 is next, so we're going to fold right along this line right here. Oh, that lined up really nicely, didn't it? Look at that. And so this is the rough idea on this side. As we roll it over, we'll hit that flip side guide. There's our white line. We're getting right on it there. White line in front. And basically what you're doing is you're taking this long edge just down to the center crease that we just made. So your flip side guide should tell you, but in case it's a little bit off, just know that you're taking that edge right down to the center. And there we go. We're seeing the flip side guide there a bit. And we've got one wing done. We're going to flip it over and do the other wing. It's always good to follow along in the book too, as you're getting used to making the plane, so you can see how the video matches the steps in the book. So that's the other wing done. I'm making sure these corners match up. That makes your wings the same size. That's always a good idea. Get these corners to match up, whether it's folding it in half or making the wings. Those single layer corners are really important to keep lined up. All right, so the folding sequence is done. We're going to do a couple things to this paper airplane that you would do to almost any other paper airplane to get it to fly better. And the first thing is to make the wings rake upward. And the reason you do that, it's called positive dihedral angle, and it adds a little bit of resistance to the plane skating back and forth. But really, if you throw a plane leaned over, I'm throwing this plane leaned over, watch the weight of the plane rock right back underneath the wings. This is positive dihedral angle at work. That is the wings sloping upward. And so that weight just rocks right back underneath the wings and keeps the plane flying straight. So that's why you want to add some upward sweep to your wings. And adding that to this plane is really easy. What we're going to do is hang onto it with one hand right there where that locking fold is. And then with the other hand, about 2 thumb widths back from the nose, we're just going to put a finger on one side, a thumb on the other, and we're just going to lift and pinch. Lift up and pinch so that the tops of the wings just end up touching each other. So here we go, lifting, 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 and I'm going to pinch those wings together, and then I'm just going to let go. And now look, I've got upward sweep to those wings, and that's a little bit like having a weight on the end of a string. This would be the string where you're holding it, and the weight is this right down here, all these layers right here. So if the plane gets rocked to one side, or you throw it a little bit off to one side, this guy, the weight will swing right back underneath the wings and keep it flying straight. And if you're trying to break a world record, that's a really important idea. The other thing we're going to have to do to this plane is add a little up elevator, and you can see where it goes right here. This is where you'd want to make the upward bend, and I'm just going to do a little bit to start with, just making a little upward bend on each wing, just right there where those ovals are. And I won't use all the oval unless I have to. I'll just put a little bend in there, right there where the ovals are. And then if your plane is not flying straight, if it's like turning to the left, you're going to want to bend a little bit right here. Both of these guys together, these are meant to be bent together. You can see there's an oval on each side here. And right there where the wings connect to the body of the plane. If the plane was turning left, I would make a little bend to the right. So I'm bending that guy to the right, and that'll pull that nose back over and keep the plane flying straight. And the same thing if the plane is flying right, you'll want to bend this little guy to the left. But I'm going to start out with no bend. I'm just going to straighten it out and see how it flies. And so I think we got we got a little video here of this guy just flying across the living room, so far from 226 feet, but you get the idea. Holding it right there where the locking fold is, just giving it an easy toss, it flies really nicely across the room. The world record EZ. You'll have fun with this one. This is an easy to fold, fun to fly plane, indoors and out. World record EZ.